took him with her everywhere where she wouldn't have to kiss him bye. Yeah, I was raised up down there in Excelsior, Georgia. You know where I'm talking about. I had 19. There was 19 of us young'uns, and you know, used to when a baby was born, they passed out cigars. Well, when my brothers was born, my daddy passed out cigars. When my sisters was born, my daddy passed out cigars. And when I was born, he just passed out. But I remember in school, I remember the first day of school, I come home, my mama said, "You learn anything?" I said, "Evidently not, I got to go back tomorrow." One time I made 100 in school. One day I made a whole 100. I made 50 in spelling and 50 in math. And one semester I made an F in every subject except geography. But I didn't take geography that year. My teacher asked me, he said, "What's the plural of baby?" I said, "I think it's twins." One of my teachers said she was an atheist. That's one of them people, they don't believe in God. There's something wrong with them, right? Yeah, she said, what are you? I said, "Well, I'm a Christian." She said, "Well, how come you a Christian?" I said, "Well, my grandma was, my granddaddy was, my daddy was, and my mama was, and I want to be a Christian." She said, "Uh-huh. Well, what if your grandma and granddaddy was, and daddy and mama was idiots? What would that make you?" I said, "I reckon an atheist." Hey, that's funny right there. I don't care where you're from. Hey, my daddy, y'all had to know him. He was a smart guy now. But one time he went over to my neighbor down the road. He bought a mule, paid $100 for that mule. He brought him home and fed him all up and everything. And we got up the next morning, went out there, the mule had died, graveyard dead. He was deader than a doorknob. So my daddy went back over there and told that man he wanted his money back. He said, "I can't give it back." He said, "Why come?" He said, "I done spent it." He said, "Well, I don't know." He said, "Well, what you gonna do?" I said, my daddy said, "Well, I'm gonna raffle that mule off." He said, "You can't raffle a dead mule off." He said, "Well, I sure won't try." He printed up 500 tickets, sold them $1 a piece. And he went back over to that man. Well, the man come over to the house and said, "I never heard nothing. How about that raffle go?" He said, "Well, made $499 off of that deal." He said, "Well, ain't nobody get mad?" He said, "Yeah, the man what won him did, but I gave him his money back." One time, my daddy wanted to do something nice for my mama, you know, like y'all do on Valentine's Day. For my mama. And he made a little extra money, and he said, "What you want? Eunice, what you want?" She said, "Well, you know, I've been reading in a magazine where them rich ladies take a milk bath." She said, "I want to do me one of them milk baths." So he said, "All right." So he goes down to the dairy, and he told the man he want to buy some milk. He said, "Well, how much you want to buy? You want a quart or a gallon, 20? What you want?" He said, "Well, I don't rightly know. But see what it is, my wife want to take one of them milk baths." He said, "Well, let me ask you this. Said, you want it pasteurized?" He said, "No, hip deep's enough she can slosh it up on her from there." One time Daddy was going to carry us to Disney World, but we didn't know how to go. You know, we ain't never been nowhere, didn't know how to get there. And the neighbor down the road said, "Just follow them signs, they'll carry you right to it." So we all loaded up in the car, and we was going down the road. We seen the first sign, said, "Clean restrooms." So we stopped. Mama got out, went in there and cleaned it all up real good. We got back in the car and went on down the road. The next sign said, "Rest area." We pulled in there, wheeled in there, stopped. We all took about a 30-minute nap. Got back in the car. We're going down the road to see the sign said, "Disney World left." We turned around and come back home. We don't know what happened to it. My daddy had a dog, and he liked that dog. He could point quail real good, and But my daddy had to sell him, and he was trying to sell him to this man who lived down the road. He said, now if there's a quail in 10 miles of him, this dog will point him. I can tell you that. This is a fine dog. He said, all right, by that time, a little boy come walking down the road, and that dog went over there and just locked down on him, on that boy. He said, that ain't no quail bird, that's a boy. He said, let's check it out. He walked over there and he said, little boy, you eat quail birds for breakfast? He said, no, sir, I ain't eating no quail bird. He said, you raise them in a pen or something like that? And he said, no, sir, I don't raise no quail birds. He said, you been around somebody that had a quail? No, sir, I ain't been nowhere around no quail bird. He said, what's your name? He said, Bob. He said, what's your last name? He said, White. I had two brothers went to town. There was construction work going on. They was going to get them a job, so they went up there to interview. And the man told them, said, look here, we looking to hire some people, but we're going to ask you some questions. So he brought carried one of them in the office and left the other sitting out there. He went in there and said, now I'm going to have to ask you some questions. So we're looking to hire good people. He said, if I reach over there and poke you in the left eye, he said, what would you be? He said, I'll be half blind. He said, okay, if I reach over there and poke you in the right eye, what you going to be? He said, I'll be whole blind. He said, that's right, that's what we're looking for. Somebody knows what they're doing, we're going to hire you. Carry this paper to the manager down the hall there and tell your brother to come on in here. He walked out there and he said, half blind, whole blind. He went in there. He said, now we hired your brother, but we got to ask you some questions. He said, if I take my scissors and reach over there and snip your left ear off, what you going to be? He said, I'll be half blind. He said, whoa now. Okay, if I reach over there with my scissors and snip your right ear off, what you going to be? He's going to be whole blind. He said, wait a minute now. If I cut your left ear off, you're going to be half blind. I cut your whole. He said, how do you figure that? He said, my hat fall down over my eyes. I can't see. He said, that's right. We're going to give you a white hat like a supervisor right here. One of my brothers